In the Gospel on Thanksgiving Day, we hear a familiar story from the Scriptures. As Jesus was walking along the border area between Galilee and Samaria, he encountered 10 lepers who gathered close around him. Jesus then proceeded to heal them, but in an unconventional way. For he did not cure them immediately, but sent them along, and in that journey they were cured. One then returned, giving thanks to the Lord. More often when we hear this story, we place ourselves in the place of the lepers and reflect on how we are to be grateful to God when we receive his blessings. It is appropriate and fitting for us to do this, especially on our National Day of Thanksgiving. However, let's look at this familiar gospel from the perspective of Jesus. Because if we seek to journey along the path of Christ, it is always good to know his way of proceeding. We first notice that Jesus walked along the Samaria-Galilee border, which was an unsafe place to be, far from his home. As you may know, these communities were antagonistic against each other, yet Jesus places himself in the midst of them. Luke explicitly tells us so in this gospel. This is a call for us to consider where we find ourselves when we want to do good. At the holidays, we often find ourselves in the comfort of family and in familiar places. But on Thanksgiving, our challenge this year is to recognize that not all people are in safe places on this day or any day, and to place ourselves, like Jesus, in those border areas so that we can accompany people, especially the most vulnerable, towards Christ and protection and refuge. Second thing we notice is that Jesus encountered the people who society most shunned. In this case, the leper community, and doubly so, a Samaritan, who was doubly excluded and ostracized even by his own disciples. Yet Jesus is not afraid of those people, and he is not afraid of the reputation he might gain for associating with them. So this is a challenge, this is a call for us to consider who we associate ourselves with. Jesus found company with the lowly, the broken, the lost, and the sinner. Do we do the same in our lives? On Thanksgiving, our challenge is to resolve to be present for those on the margin of our society and those who need our help the most. Finally, we are led to the actions of Jesus, his healing ministry. The Lord was known as a great healer and comforter. And if we are to call ourselves Christian, do our friends, family, and colleagues know us as a healer and a comforter? Do they come to us to find peace and harmony? Or do we further contribute to division and polarization? Or are we simply ignoring those who ask for our assistance? On Thanksgiving this year, maybe our challenge should be to act as healers, to promote reconciliation and justice and peace, and to work to aid those who need our help the most. Now, the holiday season ahead will give us plenty of opportunities to place ourselves where Jesus walked, to encounter the people that Jesus encountered, and to offer healing, which is what Jesus would do in any of these cases. At our Thanksgiving tables this year, let us give thanks to God like the 10th leper in the gospel. But let us also resolve to emulate Jesus Christ through our compassionate and loving engagement with one another, especially those on the margins of our society. May God bless you. May God bless your friends and family on this day of Thanksgiving.